Keller, to the Greater Southwest Insurance Company office in Kingman, Arizona. The following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Redrock matter. Expense account item 1, $1.70 for a telegram to Jake Kessler, giving him my flight time. Item 2, $169 even, plane fare and incidentals, Hartford to New York to Las Vegas, Nevada. Early the next morning, then, Jake was there at the Vegas airport waiting for me. Tall, angular, well-tanned, wearing jeans, a denim shirt, high-heeled boots, and a broad-brimmed hat. Well, he looked like he should have been riding a range pony instead of a car. We headed east on 95 through Boulder City, then south toward Kingman, Arizona.
All right, now, Johnny, now that we got the how-to-dos over with, I better tell you why I called you out here.
Hey, you said something about a murder, Jake.
We'll know for sure when we get down to Kingman. Now, back in 52, Johnny, a couple of boys named Ralph Garrett and Jerry Bisbee were doing quite a bit of prospecting around these parts.
Gold?
Gold, silver, copper, anything they could find. Well, how they ever joined up together, nobody could rightly understand it.
Yeah, why do you say that?
Well, Ralph was okay. Not much money, but a nice wife, home, family. But Jerry Bisbee, well, the town had been hoping he'd go somewhere else for years.
Ah, I see.
Anyhow, one day they set out to pound the rocks up near the town of Chloride over near Mount Tipton. A month or so later, though, Jerry Bisbee came back to Kingman alone.
Oh?
Folks asked him where Ralph Garrett was. He said Ralph had left him to go out and get a job in California.
And left Bisbee with the rights to all their claims?
Now, that wasn't even talked about. Not then.
Yeah, well, go on, Jake.
Anyhow, Ralph's wife claimed it was all a big lie, that Bisbee had taken Ralph out there in the desert and killed him.
But why? Why did she think that?
Claimed Ralph almost hadn't gone on that particular trip, that he'd gotten suspicious of Bisbee, that he was scared of him, and that Ralph wouldn't have just up and left her like that.
Well, did she tell this to the police?
Sure did. So they looked around all over the state, even notified the boys over in California, but nobody couldn't find a sign of Ralph.
I see.
So then she got a hold of some relative she has over in the state's attorney's office over in Phoenix. And, Johnny, before you knew it, Jerry Bisbee was up on trial for murder.
Oh, but on such flimsy evidence and without a body.
Sure. Jerry was acquitted. Now, like I say, that was back in 52. But we only paid off the insurance on Ralph about a year ago, lacking any legal proof that Ralph was dead until that statute of limitations said he had to be here or something.
Yeah, I know. But how about this man Bisbee? Does he still live in Kingman?
No, Johnny. As soon as that trial was over, he sold his little place, left town, and never come back.
And with no actual proof that he'd killed his partner.
Now, just a minute.
Yeah?
Didn't your Eastern papers carry anything about that big windstorm we had out here last week?
Windstorm?
Biggest one we've had in years. Must have blew 70, 80 mile an hour. Johnny.
Oh, yeah, I guess I did read something about that.
Sure you did.
Yeah, I remember now. That wind uncovered the bones of a man who'd apparently become lost somewhere out here in this desert some years ago.
Lost, huh?
What do you mean?
There's something the papers didn't say, Johnny. There was a bullet hole in the back of the skull.
Oh?
From exactly the same caliber as the old Winchester 94 Jerry Bisbee'd always carried with him.
Then it looks like the skeleton is Ralph Garrett's. Murdered and buried out there by this Jerry Bisbee.
Well, now, there's only one person can identify that skeleton for sure, Johnny.
Who's that?
Young Doc Blessing. And if we're lucky, we'll find him awaiting for us in Kingman.
Well, that was all Jake had to say about the matter until we could talk to Dr. Blessing. When we got to Jake's office there in Kingman, we found a note on the door from Dr. Blessing asking us to wait for him. So we sat there and waited.
And then he came here and... dang flies. Think out here in this nice, clean desert air, they wouldn't live there. You are... Oh!